Part 22 of John, um, chapter 13, verse 10. Oh, it's a rough start here. Okay. Left off right here where Peter replied to our Lord, please wash my feet. Then Jesus told them, not all of you have my likeness, for he knew Judas, not the one who, but Judas, will betray him. So this, and it's not about something about being cleaned, when we're talking about this. That's why I had to say, have my likeness. So the object is I'm adding the words you have my likeness, which is to be a servant to others. After he washed his feet, after he washed their feet, okay. Taking his garments, he reclined at the table. This is not needed. He said, what I have done by washing and drying your feet, you have called me teacher and your king, which should be two words, your king, and you are right. Then it continues, as your king and teacher, I washed your feet. You should also wash on. That isn't what Jesus is speaking about. It's about him being a servant to wash their feet. So we have to keep with that thing. For I am your, not example, but servant. And you should be as I am. When Jesus is saying this, it is pretty much, he is being a servant by telling you that about his kingdom. Okay? To help them out, he is serving others to be called to his kingdom. So when I say a servant, although they are not as great as their Lord, not their master, because he knows he's a Lord. A king is a Lord over people, and not a master. That would be something of a house, with a with servants. Neither I am, let's see, one who. I'm having a hard time reading what this is. Let's take a look at it over here. Oh, and this is 14. No, it was 16. Truly I say to you, a slave is not greater than his master, neither is one who is sent greater than one who sent him. Now, okay. The wording is just not as good as what I've got here. I say a servant, although they are not as great as their Lord, neither am I, for I was sent. So it's him putting in the position of being sent by our Creator. Like I just gave that example, he's here to teach us his kingdom, and he's serving other people by calling them to heaven. And I am not greater, or I'm not great as YHVH who sent me. Don't need the word one here. Jesus would know he's not supposed to call our Creator a number. So getting rid of that. Oops. Not the word if. It's not about if, because they got if here twice. here and here, and it's not about the word if. You know this, and you will be blessed by knowing what Jesus was sent by YV. So by doing like me, let's see, you will, now you know this, and you will be blessed by doing like me. Okay, that's better said than what I was trying to make it out to be here. It was easier just reading it and saying that's what's needed. This text don't need. I know one of you I have chosen will be prophesied for this prophecy to be fulfilled. Okay. Who eats my bread will use his heel against me, against him. You have to see the prophecy down here. This prophecy will be filled. Who eats his bread, meaning Jesus' bread, will use his heel against him. Now, this is speaking about Judas betraying him. So we have to understand what the situation here is. I know one of you I have chosen will be as prophesied. And I had to add these words will be as prophesied because when it goes through the prophecy, we understand it's Judas who's going to be betraying him. It is now, I am telling you this before it comes about. Now, other texts in other books, Jesus says this differently because he tells them over and over he's going to be betrayed. Not in this, it's like it's the first time in John that he's going to be betrayed. So that's why this reference is like this. Yeah. For it is now I am telling you of this before it happens. Now this word here should be all capital letters, the betraying, before it comes about. That comes to pass, but comes about. Let me see about the word pass here. It is verse 19. Here it's highlighted. I don't see the word about here in the beginning. Came to be, came to pass, coming to being. Occurred, approved, performed, joined, happened. Before it comes about. I could replace comes about with the word happened here. Let me see how that would work. Before it happens. There, getting rid of two words for one. I like that. I like trying to keep things as simple and uncomplicated. Now I see that now when it does happen, but they got the word occur, If I go over here, where the cursor is here, and if I push on pass, okay, I'm seeing it's the same word. So, see that? So that's meaning that I can use happens and happens. And you will know that prophecy about him and me. So this is Jesus more or less explaining one of the prophecies that Jesus says who's going to betray him. I believe there's another prophecy Jesus says. But let me get back to the text here. Truly I say, whomever I send receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me. You cannot receive our Creator. So the object is all this is just made up gibber, because the point of this verse is this text down here, receives him who sent me. You cannot receive our Creator, so that makes this all false. When Jesus had said this, he became troubled spirit, and testified. This is just like a warm-up pitch. It's kind of like you can get rid of all that and just say, truly I say, one of you will betray me. So now Jesus is explaining this, this prophecy will be fulfilled. And this, the prophecy, who eats bread will use his heel against him. Then his disciples looked at one another as to learn which, not to know, but to learn which one of them Jesus spake about. And there reclined Jesus, as Jesus, first one of the disciples whom Jesus loved. This is just garbage. We can get rid of that. And then it's Peter asked him, not gestured him and said, then Peter asked him, tell us who it is of whom he is speaking of. Well, this here is covered by the word is. Tell us who it is. Leaning back, thus Jesus. This is just a double of what's being said, so it doesn't need to be there. And Jesus replied, the one whom I dipped bread in oil and gave it to. Here it says morsel. Let's see what morsel is over here. See a fragment, and what we're talking about is bread. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but they would, bread and oil was a staple to them, okay? And they could also season oil to dip their bread in. This knowledge of this bread and oil is from the Hebrew side of the text. And I'm trying to remember if it was Solomon that when they came to him, this is what he offered them as they sat around and listened to him. Something like that, but I know it's in the Hebrew text, this bread and oil, putting bread and oil together. And it's pretty good today, even if you season oil. In fact, that's how I picked up my first 20 pounds after I retired. I ate more bread and oil in the first month than I ate in my entire life, I think. It's just good, and gave it to. So he's telling them that if you remember what happened, now you know who it is. But they pretty much did not know who it was. Then when he had dipped the morsel, he took it and gave it to Judas. So all this is not needed. We know who it is. We know the story, so that doesn't need to be there. After this, Satan will enter into Judas, and Jesus said, "What you will do, do." I guess I read that wrong. It's Satan's will entered into Judas, and then Jesus said, "What you do will, what you will do, do." It's without Judas betraying him, he can't be arrested. He can't be then crucified. So, like I've said before, um, I still think Judas is in heaven, and the reason is that it had to happen. Our Creator would not condemn uh, somebody because everything is based on our free will to do. Um, so it would be easily forgiven him because our Creator uh, allowed this to happen. So, but now we have Judas taking it off. The one who reclined at the table knew what purpose he had said this to him. No, now no one knew those. Now no one of those reclining at the table knew what purpose he had said this to him. So that's what I was referring to above, that they didn't catch or didn't remember who Jesus dipped the bread in oil and gave it to him to eat. Now, they're saying some were supposing because Judas had the money box, but this is referring to text that was said before that wasn't true. And now this is just being falsely added. It doesn't take away from the story. It doesn't add anything to the story of Judas betraying Jesus. See, now it says, so after receiving the morsel, this is after the fact. Jesus already said that it already happened, so we can't use this. When he left, not that he had gone, he had left, Jesus said, soon your Son for Man will be glorified by YHVH. Meaning that once this betrayal starts, it ends in his body's death. And he would not use the word if, because if I get rid of the word that I added, if YHVH glorifies him, which is actually me, which would be spoke third person, which isn't right, he will also glorify him, and himself will glorify him immediately. Like I said, you cannot glorify our Creator. Even Jesus couldn't do that. Our Creator is our Creator. We are all lesser than him. So yeah, that verse is out. Little children, I am with you. This comes out of this, little children, I am with you. This almost like it's picked up and placed here for some reason. They know Jesus is speaking to the disciples. A while longer you will seek me. This. Like I said, this starts out wrong. This is not really true because Jesus is telling them where he's going. So you will no longer seek me, um, but you're supposed to obey him. So I'm half and half with that sentence there, but I'm removing it. And then I said to the Jews, I now say you also, to you also. Well, I'm still even waiting an hour or two before I do a video, and my voice just doesn't want to hang in there with me here. So out of all this, because the Jews just don't believe Jesus, so they aren't going to enter into heaven to begin with. So that's out. But it's just got, let's see how, if it ties together. When he left, Jesus said, soon your Son of Man will be glorified by YHVH. Where I am going, you cannot come now. And that's true. Okay. I was just making sure that this read together as it should without adding more words to that. And it's not a commandment. Commandments we know are what our Creator gave the 12 commandments. He said those not obeying any one of them to bring him a sin offering. So Jesus cannot create a commandment. My command is for you to have love for one another, even as I have loved you. This is just a repeat of the words not really needed. By doing this, every man, that's male and female, will know you are my disciples if you have love for one another. This is Jesus already said this, so it doesn't need to be copied over and repeated. Peter said, my Lord, where will you go? And Jesus told them, where I go, you cannot follow me. And this would be meaning that he's going to die and enter into heaven. And you can't enter into heaven until your life is done on earth. But Peter said, why can I not follow you now? For I will die for you. Now, this is setting up now Peter here, when Jesus tells him, Jesus told him, didn't answer him because he's going to tell him what's going to happen to him, which Jesus is in later in the story, that when Jesus takes them to the mount to pray and petition our Creator. I think they're going to petition our Creator. And Jesus is going to be repeating what this is, because the text in the other book, well, let's see. Let me go through this again before I get to that. Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. And this denying is what I'm going to get to here. But do not let your heart be troubled, for you have believed YHVH and believed me. Now I will ascend and thus prepare a place for mine. Heaven is heaven, okay? There's not dwelling places. Beings are just floating around, okay? Our Creator didn't make a place for him to live because he is everything. So we are in his likeness, so we are like our Creator will be floating around as angels, by our will going to wherever we want to go. But the thing here is there's no dwelling places. And if there were not, I wouldn't not have told you, well, this is just a lie by Jesus then. So we got to get rid of that. Now I will ascend, meaning to heaven, and thus prepare a place. Thus. I don't know if I need the word thus. And I will ascend to the prepared place for mine. Because when I'm reading this, I'm kind of under trying to think, how is Jesus creating his kingdom? His kingdom is going to be given to him by our Creator. So I will go, I will ascend, to the prepared right? Um, because this prepared place Jesus is talking about, to the prepared place for mine, where Jesus' kingdom is going to be. I think that's better said than the way I had it. Now I will send to the prepared place for mine. Yeah, because we know he's speaking about his kingdom, but we have to understand that our Creator has prepared it for him. So that's got to be reflected in the text. Then Thomas said, "Yes, now we know you where you are going," because now they understand that he's going to ascend. And how do we know? And now we know why. So this isn't really needed, because if you know where he's going, then you understand what the word why is. So it doesn't need to be said. Jesus taught them, "I am the way for your truths. No one will ascend to our Father except through me." I think this was but through me, but Father except through me. If they had known of me, they would have known our Father. But you will know him, for you have, for you will, but you will know him. I'm thinking our Creator, because I'm thinking of the story of Lazarus, when they were just saying, well, that they heard our Creator's voice. So if they had known of me, they would have known our Father. But you know him, for you have heard from him. If they had known of me, they would have known of our Father. Okay, now that's the unbelievers that he's talking about. but you know, so this has to be removed. But you know him, for you, I need to keep the word have here, but they haven't seen him, they have heard from him. And I gotta put the D on the end here. You have heard. Don't need the word from neither. But you know him, for you have heard him. Okay. That's more correct being said that way. Then Philip asked him, show us our Father. Jesus told him, this this is just not truthful. This text is referring to, if you've seen Jesus, then you would see the Father and know our Father. That isn't true. Um, Nobody is actually made in the image of our Creator. So the actual image of our Creator. So the text here can't be saying that. So Jesus told him, you know me, Philip, and know why he has sent me. He's just stating the obvious to him. Why do you ask? Show me our Father. Um, I'm, Let me get this verse out over here. It is way down on the text. Mm. Jesus said to him, have I been so long with you, and yet you have not come to know me? Now this, you'd have to do a lot of thinking of what this means, because remember, Philip is asking him to show us the Father. Like Jesus can command our Creator to come down. He can't do that and say, nobody commands our Creator to do anything. Um, so, um, and like I said, nobody's in the likeness, the exact likeness of our Creator. So that can't be true at all, that verse here. He who has seen me has seen the Father. That cannot be true either. Um, the, who has seen me has seen the Father. And that is not truthful. Okay. And then it would be because Jesus is saying he's identical to the Creator, and that's not true. So that's why I'm removing this text and keeping that out. There's no way that Jesus would say he's exactly like our Father, who is our Creator. We are all below him. So I've got, why do you ask? Show me our Father. Because he knows he's been sent from him. So why are you asking for anything more? I guess is the way the text is reading here now. Do you not believe that I am from our Father? So he's reaffirming this question here. Um, and I did need to change this word from how do you ask to why do you ask to be more correct. So I'm hoping that you understand what I'm getting at here, why I'm removing these words. It's obvious to me. I just know some of you don't know as much as I do. So if you come along this and you don't understand it, give it time, and our Creator will give you the answer. Unless you are not that good, then you don't receive these answers as truth. Um, do you not believe I am sent? Do you not believe that I am from our Father? Um, Meaning sent from our Father? Do you not believe that I am? Because here, I've got the word sent here. So, yes, using the word from is okay. From our Father. No, maybe my words that I say, and I do not speak on my own initiative. This has already been said in the text above. So, this is kind of like Jesus doing a recap to explain to Philip um, why does he need to see our Creator. And this is, I'd say a lot of times how I'll take your belief and take it to a trust. I can see Jesus here having this. If you know me and seen what I've been doing, you know about our Father. You do not need to see him until you get to heaven. So the thing here is that's your reward as well in heaven. But the object here is Jesus doing this question of him, if you of taking his belief to a trust here. So our Father abiding, which means lives. Our Father lives, and I do as he commanded. I do as his works. Um, and I do, and me does his works. Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of confusing, I know. So let me get back to the text here and say 10. Do you not believe that I am in the Father? Um, no, the word in is absolutely not truthful. And the Father is in me. This is at such a, okay. This is, like I said, our Creator is everything. So he's in everyone and around everyone. Um, some people don't have the concept of our Creator as everything, and then he has made us like him by separating us, for us to have our own will to decide whether he exists or not, or he is who he says he is, the creator of everything. Um, but anyway, when it comes down here, but the Father abiding in me does his works. That the Father abiding. This can't be true either, because Jesus has already told us a couple times that he asks from our Creator because our Creator is always listening to him. That's how he does his healings. So this is all um as to, when you understand um the truth of all the verses that I'm going through, this will be more clear to you that Jesus told us what is Holy Spirit. Um, And here are those verses. I need a drink here. These top two verses, Jesus is telling us it is the Father who speaks through you or in you. Now, through you, these are the two verses here that I can say that with confirming that Zacharias, who by his holy words prophesied, you can't do prophesying without knowledge of our Creator. so, so Zacharias was filled with his words through you. Elizabeth does the same thing and prophesied through her. Jesus comes down here and he now tells us about in you. The Spirit will teach you in what that very hour what you ought to say. So our Creator's words come to you as well. But these are in special times when these happen. These are in special times when these happen, is pretty much. But that means that there is no Trinity, that you can't have our Father as breath, Father, Son, and his breath. No, it doesn't make sense. So I think I've corrected this to be as truthful as I can make it. Yeah, I'm going to quit there because you can see that there needs to be a lot of explaining there. So that'll be the end of this video.